Hey guys, so today I'm going to be maintaining the Nano Talon from ZOHD, and it's a little like microplane. It's about 860 millimeters across, and this is probably one of the most clever designs I've seen from a plane in quite some time. The whole thing disassembles. The wings come off, the tail fins come off. It's a V-tail design. There's no servos in the wings at all. They're actually controlled via actuators that are inside the hatch here, and I'll show you what that looks like. It comes apart very easily, and then there's a magnet here that holds the top section on. And then inside here you've got the servo for the ailerons, and then there's an actuator here that turns these two rods for the ailerons, and then you have two servos back there for the elevator V-tail section. And so you get basically a rudder and elevator from these two servos here. And then there is a stabilizer here. There's a beginner mode that will self-level the plane. You can turn it off, and then there's another mode where it just stabilizes only. So we'll be testing that out as well. I'm using a 1300 3S battery. There's a 30 amp ESC that supposedly can take 4S. I'm not going to try that today, but I'll show that in a second. It's on the bottom. The ESC actually came in the top here, but I moved it underneath. So there's a small hatch under here, and it comes off with a magnet. So there's a couple magnets here, and then I put my receiver here, and then the ESC is over here on the side. I think there's better cooling underneath here because there's a small duct here in the front and in the back underneath, and I think that improves the airflow, and so that should cool the ESC down. And I have my receiver wires in the back here at 90 degrees, and you can see here that the wing is kind of loose. This one doesn't come off easily, so I'll just see if this comes off in flight or not. But it doesn't take much for these wings to come apart. You can see that it just comes out like that. There's a rod there, and a little tab that holds it on, and there's a little actuator there that turns the aileron. So I'll just see how this holds up in flight. I'm going to be recording my flight on the RunCam 2 here. And there's some notches underneath the wing here, or some nubs for the CG. I'm actually going to be moving it a little bit behind there, just because I heard that the CG is actually too nose heavy. So I'll be launching in beginner mode. You can see here that the elevator will pitch up when you throttle up. It's supposed to help with the launching. It's also like the launch mode. So we'll see how much it pitches up here. I think the CG feels about right. Yeah, so hopefully we'll have an uneventful launch. It's a pretty low kV motor. It's like 2204. Yeah, it's 2204, 1870 kV, and like a 6x3 prop. So this is really designed for efficiency. So, 1300 they're saying like 20 minutes of flight, 1500 maybe 25 to 30 minutes of flight. So, I'm not going to fly it that long. It's going to be boring just going in circles here today. But yeah, you can get some pretty long flights with this. You can see the stabilizer working here. It's going to self-level, so should be easy to fly for beginners. Okay, since the wind's coming from behind me, I'm going to launch from this location from the middle of the field here into the wind. About half throttle, and it does fly fairly slow actually. It does have some dihedral, so it's not like the mini Talon which has no dihedral. It's actually climbing going into the wind there. And you do have, in this version with the two servos in the back, you do have rudder functions, so I am able to turn a little bit with just the rudder. But I think that in this beginner mode, it's kind of self-leveling here. See that it's kind of being knocked around by the wind a little bit. it is self-leveling, so kind of easy to fly actually, surprisingly. And I'm not flying it very fast either. And it's very, very quiet. You can see that it's very slow going into the wind there. Now going down when you have to kind of power up a little bit. I'm still in the beginner mode, and yeah, it's very easy to fly. I can see this becoming a very popular model. It's a lot, well, it's not quite a lot bigger than one of the first planes I ever flown, the, what was it called, the Sport Cub from Horizon Hobby. This is a little bit bigger than that, much heavier than that. Obviously we're running 3S and not 1S. But it's a micro-sized plane. You break it down and you could potentially put it into a backpack. And it has the ability to FPV as well. There's a little camera mount, or a little camera hole in the very front where you can put an FPV camera. I'm not set up for FPV today, but I'm definitely going to be doing that in the future. This will be a very easy plane to FPV. The stabilizer works really well. Yeah, for such a small plane, you do need a little stabilizer just for the wind, and I think the CG is about right, just a little bit behind where it's actually marked, and I think that's correct. I think that it just looked a little bit too far forward, and I had a feeling it was going to be a little bit nose heavy. It might actually be just a touch tail heavy. I'm not 100% sure, because I am in beginner mode, so it's a little bit masked by the stabilizer. I'm gonna actually take it out of that a little bit here. Now, I'm totally hands off here. I'm not even controlling it. It's just going in a nice straight line. It's nice and level. I haven't trimmed this at all. So I believe the stabilizer is trimmed or calibrated out of the box, but there's a button on the stabilizer that you can press to recalibrate it if you need to change the level setting. So I'm about half throttle. And a little pretty high up there. I'm going to actually turn the stabilizer off. So I'm actually flying completely manually here. So no help from the stabilizer. And it seems to fly pretty stable with no stabilizer. It does still getting bounced around a little bit. Actually, now that I'm in manual mode, I can tell that it's actually nose heavy. But it's not bad. Yeah, you can definitely pitch it over more. Not quite as relaxing flying it in manual mode, because you do have to pay attention more to what the plane's doing, and it's twitchy because it's small, so you have to be careful. And I'm flying a little bit faster here. I think that if I fly it slower, it might stall, but it's not bad. Actually, flying without a stabilizer is not that bad at all. Obviously, if you're a beginner, you're gonna probably want that self-leveling mode. I have about 30% expo. That seems to be about right. So I switch it back into stabilizing mode. So I'm going to try to fly a little slower and lower and try and get some closer shots here. Yeah, it definitely wants to go up when you go into the wind. Let's bring it down a little lower. Yeah, I'm about 1/3 throttle now. Getting some, there's a little bit of ground effect there, getting closer to the ground. Oh, it's getting much windier now, all of a sudden. You can see the plane's kind of getting bounced around. It's a small plane. Oh yeah, it's getting bounced around a lot now. It's quite a bit more windy. Just all of a sudden, it got suddenly very windy. Flying really low to the ground here. Wow. Let me get closer. Props in the back, so probably not going to be hurting myself too much if I hit myself. There we go. Low pass. Now it just wants to balloon up every time the wind hits it. That's full throttle there, not much power. This plane's not designed for speed, it's designed for efficiency and long flights. So if you guys are into that, I know some of you are, definitely check this plane out. I really like the way this thing flies. It's very relaxing. I think sometimes I just prefer a slower, relaxing flight to enjoy it more, especially when you fly line of sight. When you fly FPV, I think I like more speed, so maybe when I fly as FPV, I'm gonna try to do some long range perhaps. Set up some iNav and maybe like get a TBS Crossfire micro in there. Something like that might be interesting. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about that. Kind of a setup you like to see. Definitely gonna be doing more flights than this one. This one's a fun plane. It's a little, I don't know, I can't complain about the price too much. It's about $100, I think. It's not bad. I mean, it comes with everything built, the servos and the stabilizers in there. It doesn't come with a battery. I do like the fact that it's very portable. You can pretty much break it down and put it into a backpack. That's just amazing for something like this. I might even take it to the beach or something and fly at FPV there. That would be pretty nice and a lot more scenic than this dead grass field here. Okay, I think this is a good demonstration, first demonstration of this plane. I'm going to go ahead and land it. So I'm almost at no throttle here. Now, that was a pretty uneventful landing too. So I basically just cut the throttle over there and I let it glide in. It has a fairly decent glide slope, not too bad. You don't have to worry about the prop braking in the back because there is a piece back here that will prevent the prop from hitting. You can see right here. So you see no damage to the prop. So and it's reinforced with plastic here. As you can see, the wing has detached again on the landing. It didn't come off in flight, which is good. But yeah, might have to do something about that to keep that a little more secure. Maybe I'll put some tape here or something just to hold it on while I'm flying around. Yeah, this is a pretty fun plane to fly. I actually like it a lot. I would recommend you guys check it out if you're into these kind of smaller planes, and maybe you want to do some FPV. And the portability factor is just off the wall. It's pretty amazing. I really like that a lot. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.